Okay, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Espresso with me, Darius and Anucauskas. Today is the 4th of July 2019, so welcome everyone. Welcome to this Thursday's morning session where we're going to have a look at the markets, a few of the charts, the usual stuff. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest, and we can continue. Okay, so now then, very quick mentioning of our JFD Bank YouTube channel here, where you can go in and have a look at different analysis that we do on a daily basis in different languages. And yep, always subscribe here in order not to miss any of the videos and webinars, and we'll always be happy to see you there. So also just a reminder of our JFD research page here on our JFD website, where you can also go in and have a look at the analysis that we do on a daily basis. So these are some of them are more in-depth ones. So yep, feel free to check us out. I believe you can find a lot of useful stuff here. So, but for now, let's quickly jump into the charts. Now, before I jump into my first one, which is the FTSE 100, I just wanted to quickly mention, just to show you the US indices. So basically, of course, as you all know, today they are going to be closed, they will reopen on Friday. So today, in general, today could be a bit of a quiet day, let's say, from all the information, all the news that's coming out. Probably the more important ones to watch out is the Swiss CPI figure for the month-on-month, and of course the European Eurozone retail sales on month-on-month basis. So keep your eyes on those. But as I said, just a quick mentioning here of the US indices. Yesterday, I mean, they've managed to create new all-time highs. I talked about yesterday in my Traders Tea Time about the S&P 500, where I've said that yes, we will be opening with a nice gap here to the upside. We will be opening above this barrier right here near the 2,978. So we opened just kind of bang on that one, or just maybe fractionally above it. But the most important is that the index traveled further up here. What I was saying, that in a way we could start kind of looking at the psychological 3,000 level. Now this would be very interesting to see if it actually hits that, because it's just really not far from there right now, so might as well just kind of touch it. So but again, like I said, we do get some surprises sometimes, and given the fact that everybody's in anticipation of that level, maybe the S&P has a few tricks up its sleeve. So that's why be very careful with this one. Of course, this is still looking quite positive. We could see this one pushing further up here, and like I said initially, we will aim for the 3,000 level, and then we'll take it from there. If it wants to continue pushing higher, then that's great, because for now it's a bit difficult to find a resistance level here, given that it's kind of already creating, well, it created the new all-time high here. Similar story here is on the Nasdaq 100, and looking at this chart, you can see this daily chart. So yesterday it just kind of fractionally managed to close above the previous all-time highs that we saw here in April, and now you can see that the index kind of looking quite interesting, quite positive. And when I was covering Nasdaq 100 here, I was talking about this level here, so we managed to break it nicely to the upside and managed to test this area here. Now we're going to be very careful, cautious, the same story as with the S&P, and we'll see where it wants to go now. We're just going to remain some let's say cautiously bullish on this one. We will continue targeting higher levels, and the next potential area for us could be around the 7,900 levels, so keep your eyes on that one. Dow Jones as well, very quickly, a quick mentioning of this one, also a new all-time high. And looking at this picture here, you can see that it's now let me just quickly put this one. It's now kind of trading above its October highs even, so that was even the higher point here in 2018. So October 2018, that was when kind of it reached the all-time high, and now the index is slightly above that. In a way, it could continue pushing further up here. The level that we're going to be keeping a close eye on is of course the 27,000 here, and slightly above that the 27,000 maybe 100. That could be a nice step here for Dow Jones. Actually, just to kind of reiterate that a little bit, the cash index, after the market has closed, the cash index managed to reach that 27,000 level. So like I said, we will have probably a nice gap here to the upside on Friday, so be very careful with this one, guys. Again, like I said, the 20 we will continue monitoring that 27,000 level, and we'll see what it wants to do from there. If it wants to correct maybe a little bit to the downside, that's still good for the bulls. But if, let's say, if as long as it stays above the 26,465 level, because this is the area where we're gonna start aiming for lower levels again. So that's why, guys, for now, yes, it is looking quite positive. Let's see how this is going to perform on Friday. But like I said, just wanted to quickly mention this one on this video, so I just wanted to run by you all these top 3 US indices. Now jumping into some of one of the European ones, which is the FTSE 100. So now then, with this one, it's quite interesting as well. It continues to push higher. Looking at this daily chart, of course, we're not quite near the all-time highs. The all-time highs were met here around the May time 2018. And let me just kind of double check and jumping into a monthly chart. That is correct. So that was the highest point here in May 2018. So that's why we're still kind of far from there. This level here was near the let me just put this one quickly on the chart. This level was here near the 7,903 zone. So as you can see, we're still kind of balancing slightly above the 7,600, so about 300 points left to go. But looking at this daily chart here, you can see that it managed to clear the 7,550 level. I talked about this area in one of my previous videos, and for now, of course, the market is still it's still closed, so it should be opening in a few minutes, or should I say in an hour. And the next target for us is going to be, of course, this 7,635 zone, because if that gets a nice break, then yep, we will continue pushing higher. Of course, do not forget that at some point we may see a small correction to the downside. We're trading here above this nice tentative upside support line taken from the low of the 3rd of June. So in a way, this is going to be something for us as a gauge here. If this continues to push higher, that's great, but if at some point if this decides to reverse back to the downside, this is what we're going to be aiming for. A nice good test of this upside support line, and as long as the price remains above this upside line, then yep, we will continue aiming higher. If, of course, for example, let's say this reverses earlier and drops here below the 7,550 level, or even the 7,529 zone, Now this is where it could become quite interesting for the bears again. We could see this could in a way, such a move could in a way open the path back down here towards some of these lower levels. And the area that we're going to be targeting here initially is going to be around the 7,435 or even the 7,370 zone. So around here, which previously acted as a good area of resistance here back on the 22nd of May, and also a good area of support seen on the 27th of June. So, but again, like I said, this is in terms in the scenario if we see a break of this upside line and a drop below the 7,529 zone. So keep your eyes on that one. For now, this is quite interesting for the bulls. I mean, this if it pushes further above the 7,635, the next potential target for us could be around this high near the 7,790 zone marked by the high of the 8th of August last year. So keep your eyes on that one. Very quickly on Brent oil. Now let me just jump into a 4-hour chart on this one. So as you can see, it traveled below this area that I was talking about in one of my videos. This one right here, the 64 zone. It traveled lower. It tested perfectly this 62.50s area as well, from which it kind of rebounded and pushed higher. But the only thing is that it pushed higher, but again tested the 64 zone and kind of failed to push above it. So it failed to push above and stay above the 64 area. So what we're going to do here now is again we're going to be very careful. We're going to keep an eye on some of these key potential breakout points. So one of which could be this 64 zone. If we get a nice good push and ideally maybe a close above the 64 zone, then yep, we will aim for slightly higher levels. Initially we will target this little high near the 65.50 marked by the high of the 2nd of July, and if that fails to withhold, then yep, further acceleration to the upside could be possible. But let's just go not rush into this yet. Let's go step by step. In terms of the downside, well, as you follow me now, probably this is the level that we're going to be keeping a close eye on, this one right here. So where the commodity found its support recently, so the 62.50 zone, approximately around there. If that breaks, then yep, it could open the path towards slightly lower areas. We will aim for the 61.3840 zone initially, but if that doesn't stop the sellers, then yep, the next target could be around the 60.20 zone or even the psychological 60 level. So for now, keep your eyes on this one. Let's see how it's going to perform around these two levels, the ones that I highlighted, and yep, then we'll take it from there. DXY, another index here. Very quickly, I've talked about DXY in one of my videos this week, and what I was saying here guys, keep close eye on this little range. As you can see, it continues to hold the price action here between these two, between the roughly 96.68 65 zone, maybe something around there, and that's on the downside, and on the upside the 96.88 zone. This is what also continues to hold this index kind of down. So it's currently, like I said, DXY is stuck within between these two levels. What we're looking here for is, of course, if we get a nice push above the 96.88, and then probably just for that better confirmation, a nice good push above the 200 EMA on this 4-hour chart. This could just do the trick here for the bulls, and we could see this one traveling a little bit higher. I'm not saying that we might travel a lot here, because as you can see, we still have this downside resistance line taken from the high of the 23rd of May to overcome. So that's why, guys, be very careful. We're not gonna, like I said, go drastically to the upside, but of course this could just increase the chances for this one to travel further up, especially if it also overcomes this downside resistance line that I've just mentioned. In terms of the downside here, a drop below the 96.68 zone, 65, approximately around there, could open the path back down towards this 96.45 level. I talked about this one previously. This was a very good area of resistance before, and now it can play the role of support. Also, again, we're not going to drag this one too much to the downside, because we do have this one right here. Now we have this upside line, so in a way, even if we see a drop below the 96.45, this is kind of the last area where the bears could get a hold up. This is where they could get held, and but if this, let's say, breaks below this upside line, this upside tentative upside support line, and drops below the 96.25, now this is where it could become really interesting, and we could see then maybe further declines back towards the lowest areas of June near the 95.90 levels. So for now, of course, keep your eyes on these potential breakout points, the ones that I mentioned. Of course, the on the downside is the 96.68, 65. A break below that could potentially lead towards slightly lower areas here, and a break above the 96.88 could open the path towards slightly higher levels as well. So very quickly on a few pairs now before I run out of time. AUDNZD, so this one continues to try to climb higher. It's still stuck below this 1.0495 zone. In a way, actually, we could even round it up towards the 1.05. So let me just lift this one just here. So there we go. So we do have this nice potential barrier here, which in a way, if broken, could open the path towards slightly higher levels. The only thing is that we are still below this downside resistance line taken from the high of the 31st of May. So that's why the upside could be limited due to this little downside resistance line. So keep your eyes on that one. In terms of the downside here from the short-term perspective, now let me just adjust one of these levels here, and what we're going to do here is we're going to monitor some of these some around an area around here near the 1.0460. So as you can see, it was once a nice area of resistance, but then got broken, and then kind of was tested again, and also kind of held. It was around there. I mean, it held the pair from kind of dropping further down. So in a way, if we see another drop below the 1.0460, then what we're going to target here is the lowest area of July so far, of course, and that's near the 1.0430. Now, of course, if that gets a break, then yep, this would confirm a forthcoming lower low, and we could see this one sliding further down. But for now, it seems that there is more chances for this one to push higher. It is currently above its pivot, today's pivot, which could be seen as a nice positive sign. But if we get a nice pop above the 1.05 level, then yep, we'll aim for slightly higher levels up until this downside resistance line. GBPJPY, very quickly on this one, found good support near the 135.35. As you can see, yesterday it tried to kind of break below it. It did break it, but it never kind of closed the 4-hour candle below it. So in a way, this acted as a nice good area of support from which the pair retraced to the upside. Still, as you can see, it's also, if I'm going to zoom in here a little bit, it's stuck here between this 135.35 and this 135.76. So in a way, from today's perspective, from the very short-term perspective, a nice good push above the 135.76 could open the path towards maybe towards slightly higher levels. I'm not going to drag it too much here. Initially, we will aim for the 136.24, or then going further towards the 137.20. But that's, of course, if we see a nice good push above the 135.76. Initially, like even probably, I'm not going to even drag it too much to the upside. Initially, what we're going to do here is just aim for this level here, and then we'll take it from there, see what he wants to do. So a nice good push above the 135.76 could open the path towards the 136.24. In terms of the downside, well, I mean, a nice good strong drop below the 135.35 would confirm a forthcoming lower low, and we could see this one sliding further down towards the 133.83 zone potentially. And the last pair I wanted to quickly touch on here is the euro dollar. Now this one is a bit of a tricky one because On one hand, it is sliding this week, but it found good support near the 1.1275 and near this 200 EMA. It's not far from this upside support line, from testing kind of this upside support line again, taken from the low of the 30th of May. In a way, if this drops below the 1.1275, this is where, like I said, we will consider this upside line, and if it holds, we may see a nice reversal here, maybe to the to the upside, a small correction, but of course we'll take it from there, see what it wants to do. But for now, in a way, like I said, if we see a drop below the 1.1275, this is what you could target, this upside support line, and then, like I said, we'll take it from there. If it breaks, we may see further declines, but if it holds, this could be a nice area for the bulls kind of step in again and push this one higher. If this pair decides to travel higher straight away, let's say pushes above the 1.1313 zone, well, I mean, this is what we're going to target, this 1.1348 zone, and then of course for us to kind of get slightly more comfortable with the higher levels, ideally we'd like to see a push above the 1.1348 zone, and then yep, we'll aim for the 114s and above. So for now, guys, keep your eyes on the 1.1275 today. Of course, let's see how this is going to play out. If it holds, then keep your eyes on the 1.13 12 13 zone, approximately around there, and then if we do get a nice push above this, then yep, we could aim for slightly higher levels. So that's of course these are the levels for today. I hope you found it useful. I do apologize for running a little bit over my time, guys, but there were a few of the instruments that I really wanted to cover. So I hope you have a fantastic trading day, guys, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.